Hey guys, this is John. Game 2 of my 15 plus 10 mini match with my former student Tom. He's 1900 USCF. Let's play d4 against him. Okay. It's interesting when you work with someone and then you haven't seen them for a couple years, you haven't been following their results after you stop working together. Because I believe he used to be a King's Indian defense player when I was working with him in like 2015, 2016, but evidently he switched up his repertoire, so let's see what he has in store in the QGD. Okay, so he's willing to go into an exchange, QGD. All right. I never hesitate to play this line. I'm a fan of this variation for white. I think it's very easy to understand. When I started out playing d4, I was studying this book by international master John Cox called Play 1 d4. And this is the system he recommended, and I've just liked it ever since. Okay, c6. There are some move order subtleties here, for sure. Like on knight bd7, which is probably the trickiest move order, white should play knight f3. I actually had a game in this Twin Ports Open that I played recently, this over-the-board tournament, knight f3. Because otherwise, black can try to play knight h5 favorably. Maybe that's what he'll look to do. My opponent in that game, he was a 2000 or 2100 USCF player. He actually played knight b6 here, which was interesting. Black could also just castle. Castle and then queen c2 would be the way I'd play. However, that gets into some mainline QGD exchange theory, and white no longer has the option for playing the knight to e2, so I have committed my knight to f3. He does play knight h5. Okay. So let's take. And now knight f4 is a bit pesky, so I want to castle here. And I think after he castles, I can play queen d1 and then jumpstart the minority attack is how you want to handle this. So let's castle. If you send the knight to e2 instead in these positions, usually you're looking to play in the center f3, e4, or at least you'll entertain that option. Okay, he plays his knight back here. So the dark square bishops have been swapped. Now with the knight on h5, I was strongly considering playing queen b1. I could still think about that, but it's more coherent to play queen c2. Queen c2 castles, rook b1. If a5, play a3. Position like that. Yeah, let's do that. I also had a game in Title Tuesday. Last Title Tuesday that I played, very similar to this. Game 1. So I think he'll castle. I wouldn't really entertain anything else if I were black. Yeah, I'll play rook here. Pretty clear idea. And I would expect black to play a5 to stop me from playing b4. But then I can play a3 and renew the threat. And if you're uncertain what white is doing, you should definitely look up the concept of the minority attack, so using less pawns to attack a majority of pawns. I'm trying to play b4, b5 to weaken black's structure. I eventually want to get my pawn up here and take on c6, or force black to do something with the c pawn. And black will have a weakness on the queen side, no matter how that plays out. Totally standard plan in these positions. Definitely one you should be aware of if you play this line for either color. I think I play well in positions where there's like little risk for my position and I can just positionally, strategically pressure my opponent. I mean, who doesn't like those positions? But I think I play especially well in those. That's kind of my wheelhouse. So I'm already pretty happy with this choice of opening. He does play a5. So let's renew the threat. It should be said, though, there are a lot of players who don't mind playing these positions for black and who play them very well. And it's possible for black to win in this line, too, if white overextends or loses the threat at some point. One of my other students, former student, Andrew Tang, most successful student I've ever had. He plays the QGD for black exclusively. It's his main defense to d4, and he has excellent results. He does play it sometimes more enterprisingly. He plays like the bishop e7 line on move 3, which is, I think, a bit better of a move order than knight f6. They're pretty close in value, but bishop e7, black has a few more options on the table that are interesting. So my next big decision, because everything up till this point has been totally standard by me, my next big decision will be if I pull the trigger on b4 or if I try to build up. Given the way the game's played out, I think I should probably play b4 pretty soon. Let's say black plays g6, blocking my light square bishop. Yeah, I think I'll play b4, trade, look to play b5. If black plays b5, then we have to be aware that black might be trying to play knight b6 and into c4, but look for me to pressure this pawn if I can. Okay, so rook e8, I think that's in the same category as g6. Helpful move. Doesn't change the position on the queen side. So, yep, I think b4. Just pausing for a second to see if there's anything more useful I can do, like maybe knight a4 first or rook fc1. Those would be common moves. But I don't think so. I think I should just go ahead with my plan. Yeah, let's go b4. And we'll see if he plays b5 or not, or if he allows me to push b5. Because for him, the big consideration is if he plays b5, is he weakening c6 and potentially c5 too much? It's a little hard to say right now, but certainly this would be, I think, the most critical move. Yeah, he does play it. Okay. So now, I think he's bound to try to send his knight into c4. But I need a useful move because I can't effectively attack this pawn with my knight yet. I can't play knight e5. He just captures. So like rook fc1 is possible. I could think about playing bishop f5. Although it seems a bit counterintuitive. I can also move this knight, I should point out. So like knight e2 would hit c6, but I think he'll play bishop b7 and just cover. But maybe I could move this knight over to f4 at some point in the future, maybe g3. Probably more likely f4. The thing I don't like about moving this knight, though, is I give up control of the a4 square. So that's the downside. Sacking on b5 is not going to be good here. It's premature. Yeah, I think I've narrowed it down to rook fc1 and knight e2. Those are the two main moves I'm looking at here. Yeah, knight e2, it gives up control of a4, so that's the main reason I'm skeptical of it. And I think he'll just play bishop b7 against either of these moves. Because I would like to get a knight to c5 or a5 soon, too. I could also think about knight d2. Knight d2, knight b6, knight here. Because if he takes on b4, that's kind of a critical thing, actually. You could play knight a5. Ideally, I would have had my move prepared, what I was going to do on b5, like right away. I don't like that I'm having to think a lot here. Because, again, I think his next moves are going to be pretty obvious. Yeah, I'm torn here, guys. Knight e2, rook off c1, knight d2. Again, all these options. Okay, I think I'm going to go with knight e2. I don't know. Now I start looking at knight d2 again. Knight d2, you can just play knight b6 immediately, though. Knight d2, knight b6, knight b3, knight c4. And then he's threatening knight a3 in a lot of cases. I don't really like taking. So I kind of think I should try to force that bishop to b7. So I guess that's mainly why I'm looking at knight e2. Yeah, let's play knight e2. Spent 5 minutes on that move, though. In a 15 plus 10 game, that's a lot. So now I'm regretting my decision to play b4 so quickly. And this may still be decent for white, but yeah. Not happy about b4 now. So on bishop b7, how to proceed. Was thinking knight d2, so looking to maneuver to one of these squares. So let's say bishop b7, knight d2, knight b6, knight b3, knight c4. But the thing is, at that point, if knight c5, he does have knight a3 again. So I might end up having to take that knight if it lands here. Bishop f5 is also possible, as I was discussing previously. Yeah, I might just have to take that knight if it lands on c4. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, and in the meantime, try to get one of these squares. And he does play knight b6. So knight b3, knight c4, take, and then see which way he recaptures. And then I have the option of sending my knight into a5 or c5, one of the two. Okay. Not sure I have an advantage, though, in those positions. And my structure could be more rickety than his with the b pawn. So, that is a concern. Yeah, because I'd like to play knight c5, but I lose this pawn is the problem. Or, sorry, I run into knight a3. If I play queen c3, I might run also into stuff coming to a3 or a4. Rook a1 is another move. He takes on b4, knight c5. Feels incorrect. Just seeing if there's anything last minute I can do to avoid taking this knight and maneuver around instead, but I don't think so. I would play queen a3 if not for rook a3. That's the annoying retort there. Even though the thing is he's not threatening much after rook a3. It just ties me down a lot. It's the main reason I don't like it. Could play rook a1, rook a8, maybe trades later. Yeah, I think I'm too tied down there. I don't like that. Okay, let's trade. Again, took a long time to decide. But I will get my knight to c5 or a5, one of the two, whichever square I want. But his structure has been strengthened, and now all of a sudden, my b pawn is looking like a weakness more than a strength. So he takes with the b pawn. And I think probably send it to c5. Yeah. Let's not block the a file, so keep the a file open for operations. Maybe I can play this and then b5 later. Start trying to slowly break down this structure. I might need to play a Luft move later around my king too. h3 or something. And his bishop is slightly awkward here. Because it was sent to b7 to defend the c6 pawn, but there's almost no other redeeming value to having the bishop there. It just kind of gets in the way. So, bishop c8, certainly a move he could consider. He might consider also trying to trade knights, but structurally I think I would probably welcome that. If he played knight e4, knight d7. Knight d7 not possible here because he loses the bishop, but in the future, let's say. But even knight e4, knight takes c5, if that's played, I think I would welcome the chance to take with one of these pawns. Get some squares for this knight too. Maybe if I take with that pawn, this knight can come to d4. So I think there's ways I can probe here. Rook a1. Okay, so he plays rook there. So is he trying to double? He's letting me play b5 if I want, but I think first this move makes a lot of sense. If I want to look to play b5 later. Yeah, let's play knight c3. And I got to play a little bit quicker again because I use so much time on move 16 and also on move 19. So keeping this hanging over his head if I ever want to commit to playing that move. If he doubles up the rooks here, I think I might play h3. Just play a helpful move. So that any coming a-file pressure, any chance he has later in the game to play his rook down to the first rank is sort of negated. Yep, he does play that. Still looking at b5, but yeah, let's go with my first instinct, play h3. Just one of those useful moves. Should also keep in mind e4 could be quite interesting. Like maybe e4 here. I didn't consider that until this move, but I probably should have looked at it on the previous move too. Yeah, because bishop c8, that improves his coordination a little bit. His rook and his queen are talking to each other. Yeah, e4. Intriguing possibility. Yeah, let's try it. That could also strengthen ideas with b5. If I hit both of these pawns. But yeah, I wonder if it was stronger on the previous move. I think it was. Maybe I didn't need to play h3. That might be a little too wishy-washy. So if he takes this pawn, either with this knight or the pawn, then this pawn is feeling pretty awkward. So I don't think he'll want to do that. He is going to take. So he might be going for bishop f5 after I take back. Okay, let's find out. So bishop f5, I can play f3 is one possibility. I can play rook here. It should be said, though, my knight is no longer guarding a2, so I got to watch out for this at some point. He just takes back. I think bishop f5 might have been stronger, but we'll see later. Okay, so I can take on c4, or I can try to win his e-pawn right away. Kind of leaning towards taking on c4. Yeah, because his e-pawn is easily defended. So let's take. Also stops rook a2 with tempo. Interesting position, though. I gotta watch out for bishop takes h3 shots, too. Make sure that doesn't land with some sort of queen g5. e3 I was not terribly worried about here if he tries that, because I think the pressure on f7 is going to be annoying for him. Let's say e3, I bring this rook over. He takes, I take with the king. I'd have to take with the king to keep my rook defended. I don't think rook a2 followed by rook takes g2 should work for him there. He does go e3 though. Okay. So if here take, king takes. Or I can take immediately. I can definitely do that. Misplaces queen, so take, king h2. But I don't like that you can just play bishop e6 there. So probably rook here is critical. I don't know, though. Maybe I should take on e3. Yeah, I think I should, because I'm seeing some problems if I play the other move. With him taking on f2, king takes, queen h4 check, king g1, and then bishop takes h3. The annoying bishop takes h3 at the end. So I think I'm going to do this, and then go here. Look to play that. He can just play bishop e6, though, as I said, and maybe try to liquidate. Bishop e6, knight takes, queen takes. Yeah, we trade. I think that's a pretty equal position. Likely that these pawns get swapped off in that line. Maybe he has to be a little careful on the back rank. He does have to be a little careful. Should be drawish, though. If he doesn't play bishop e6, then I was hoping I could get something going with a move like that. And he's got to stay guarding f7. I mean, that's why this move seems so natural to me. Should point out, there's also bishop takes h3, but I don't think it works because of rook f3. But otherwise, bishop takes h3 is pretty nifty, because if pawn takes, he could come down here, check, and I would have trouble with my king. Massive trouble with my king, actually. Maybe he can actually play bishop takes h3, rook here, and then bishop e6. Yeah, he could actually do that here. But it's not entirely clear. Takes, what if I go here first? Then if bishop e6, knight takes. He has a check on h6, king g1, he takes back, but I have rook takes. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about this. I mean, clearly I didn't properly analyze this line. Bishop takes h3, but I sort of assumed I would have enough resources with my rooks attacking his queens. Or his queen and also his bishop. But I wonder if he's looking at that right now. Safest move here definitely is just bishop e6. sort of obligating me to trade. Because if I move my queen after bishop e6, I think he parks his bishop on d5, and he's pretty happy there. Also, I need my queen to guard the d pawn, so I think that's pretty much forced if he plays bishop e6. But like I said, it's not an immediate draw because bishop e6 takes, queen takes, take, let's say rook here. If he plays rook b8, I take, and the problem is he can't take that because of the back rank. And even if he had played, okay, he plays there instead. Okay, first instinct is this move, definitely to guard the e6 square. Eye up the back rank. Bishop takes h3, I think then will definitely not work. Because I have rook e2 business. Just verifying those lines. Yeah, rook a2 check, rook e2, and I think I'm good. Yeah, I think that's working out. So threatening mate. Always good to threaten mate in one, right? He's playing a good game. I mean, I think this is anyone's game here. Queen d6 doesn't seem to harm me at all. So I'm sort of betting that it's going to be awkward for him to defend against this mate threat. He doesn't want to play g6 here to give his king an escape route, because that blocks his queen this way. That just seems like a totally undesirable move. There's not so many good squares he could move his bishop to as well. I mean, I guess technically he could play bishop g4 so that the rook is guarding the back rank, but you don't want the bishop there where the queen has to stay on h6 to stop me from capturing his bishop. f5 is not possible. e6, I just take it with the knight and then follow up with rook takes. d7 doesn't work, so I take on f7 with mate coming. These squares don't make sense. He could throw in this check. Don't know that it really changes much. I was thinking I'd just play king h1 against that. Not king g1, though, because then bishop takes h3 again. And if pawn takes, he gets queen g3 check. So I constantly have to be aware of this motif. But king h1, he still has some persistent problems at the back rank. And he can maybe play queen d8 there, but for the moment, my knight is dominating his bishop. But it feels like I'm coordinating better than I was a move ago. I mean, I'm very happy that my rook that was sitting on b1, not doing anything, is now assigned to an actually useful file. And I wouldn't doubt it here if the reason he's spending so much time is he's trying to make bishop takes h3 work. But I just don't see how that's going to pan out for him. It looks very attractive, and yeah, my king is open, but I think because I have rook e2 in all these lines, it just doesn't quite ever work for him. So maybe a break for me that he played queen h6. Not sure about that move. And now he's low on time. So this is where I'll try to capitalize. Okay. Rook e5 is possible here, but I don't know that I want my rook pinned in the future. So let's go here. Make him defend against the back rank threat. Yeah, and he does in a seemingly awkward way. Queen f8. And I don't see anything immediately wrong with that move, but your eyes just light up when you think about the possibility of getting a rook to e8. Be nice to do this. Doesn't work, but... So if I just try to mechanically double up the rooks here, I think he's going to play rook a1 in an attempt to trade. We might retain some small pressure if he does that. I think d5 is a pretty natural move here. Maybe not testing enough, though. Okay, I can't think forever myself here. I need to play a move too. Moving the knight doesn't really make sense. I think I'm going to go for d5. And I kind of regret that I'm not going to be able to attack this pawn in the future. That's my one misgiving about this move, but it's going to nicely centralize my queen, and I'm still going to be able to keep the tension, keep both rooks on the board. If I'm ever going to have a chance to do something like that, I need to keep the rooks on the board. Also, I can now play king h2 because I'm controlling the d6 square. That's a nice advantage to this. King h2 in preparation for doubling the rooks somehow, when rook a1 won't pin me. Kind of feels like he needs to play rook b8. Plays bishop there. Okay. I think probably just move this rook. So rook f4 perhaps. Don't see any tactics here. So if I trade rook takes f7, it's not working anymore. So yeah, let's go rook f4. I want to keep my dominant knight. I don't want to swap for this bishop yet. But his bishop is guarding the f1 square, so I'll either have to look for a different square to double up on, or maybe double up on a completely different file. Ooh, did I have knight e6 on the previous move? I got to keep that move in mind too. I don't know if it was working yet, but... Plays rook d8. Okay. Maybe pin his bishop now. Yeah, so that bishop can't move. So he goes back. Rook A2 also came to mind, but I'm going to do this. Yeah, and he quickly plays like a stabilizing move that's probably smart. I don't know about that last move of mine. I think I had much better moves than that. They can play rook e8, he can play rook a1. Plays queen there, okay. Somewhat sloppy by both sides now, though. Let's go here. You can still play rook a1, but I need to guard this square. Yeah, we both definitely lost the thread around here. Still everything to play for, but... Probably me more so than him lost the thread. Okay. Let's keep the attack on f7. So yeah, a pair of rooks got traded. I want to get my queen to c7 next if I can. Maybe I got to reposition my knight, though. Let's do that. So he's going to try to trade. Understandable. I don't know what's happening in this endgame. He can play rook e4, maybe. Probably you should keep the rooks on. He's going to go for it. Okay. I think I have to swap. I don't see any tricks. So got to trade. Now I guess I'll bring my king up to the center of the board. Knight f5 maybe if he ever plays king e7. Doesn't work yet though. I'll probably play king f4 first. Man, this is intense with the increment when it gets down like this. It's fun but intense. I'm still trying to grind out a little something here. Just feels like slightly worse for him still, so I'm trying to make something of it. Yeah, now I can send his king to kind of a faraway square. With king f6, his king might get pushed all the way over here. Which I should probably do before he plays g5. And now I might stand a chance of winning his bishop, but will I have enough? There's almost mating nets here if I play king g4. Not yet working, though. There's h5 and other moves like that. So let's push. Now, oh, he blunders this, but I also have b6. That's too bad for him, though. Intense one. Yeah. I sort of swindled my former student at the end here. As I said, I think I lost the thread, at least in this tense queen and double rook versus queen and double rook, knight versus bishop situation. I think like right around here. So after he plays queen f8, I mean, I played d5 and tried to force things through in the center, but it didn't really work out so well. Yeah, like queen e3, that was a panicky move in time pressure. Bishop b5 was a nice sturdy move. I actually thought maybe in hindsight, instead of queen b3, maybe this move was good. Simply threatening to take on a6 and play two rooks against the queen. Maybe he can play queen here. Reinforce an attack. Just tell him GG. What I really regret, though, is in the opening. So this was all pretty standard. He did try this knight h5 idea, trading the bishops. But I think I must have rushed b4. Again, as I mentioned at the time, this is always one of these critical decisions in this line. When do you play b4? And again, it may not be strictly bad to do it at this moment, but I just didn't find a good remedy to, after b5, black playing knight b6, c4. Did not find a good solution to that. So it makes me think, well, maybe I shouldn't have played it yet. Maybe I needed more preparation. Maybe rook fc1. Guess there's not a whole lot of moves I can even constructively play here. That's one of the other reasons I went for b4. But rook fc1, h3, moves like that. Because I actually think he's doing pretty well here. And it's possible I was even worse in the coming play. So knight e2. Here I was debating knight e2, rook fc1, and also knight d2. Not sure I made the right call. So I ended up taking his knight once it landed on c4. Again, here, after knight c4, I'd like to play around this knight for a little while. Maybe go here and try to install my knight on c5. But the problem is, I think he always has good counterplay. Like, he sticks this rook on a3. He gets ready to double. b4 is a constant weakness. That seemed much worse. So I went for this. And also here, maybe slight missed opportunity. Maybe I could have gone e4 immediately. Maybe this was the time to play this break move. Because then if what happened in the game occurs, for one thing, I have perhaps the option of taking here when he doesn't have bishop f5 stuff to bother me. But even as far as like this line, it's just much better for me if his bishop is still sitting on b7, breaking his coordination between queen and rook. That's a nice situation. Also wonder here if he could have played bishop f5. That was probably possible too. I was going to play f3 or maybe bring a rook over. Here I was criticizing his decision to play queen h6. I mean, maybe he should just play bishop e6 sometime soon. I think that's what I would do if I were him. Yeah, like if he's going to play bishop e6, now is the time to do it, isn't it? So here, I was trying to analyze the result of this, and then now rook c1, attacking c6. Maybe it is simple for him just to play rook b7, though. And then take, because if I take here, takes, he is guarding e8, so there's no back rank business. Maybe I go here and still try to grind something out, but I don't think this is going to work, even if he has to resort to passive play like this. There's not enough here to work with. So, yeah, I think bishop e6 was a good bailout option here. Because now we got into the situation where, again, black might be all right, but white is the one pressing here for sure. But then again, I didn't see a good way to land a decisive blow. And really started drifting, like right around here. Queen e3, not a good move. I think he can play rook e8, or, as I was saying, rook a1, probably a good option. And then we drifted into this endgame. Doesn't have to force the trade of queens, but okay, it's mutual time pressure. So this endgame should be a draw. And now, just trying to figure out what's the easiest way to draw this. Probably he should put a pawn on g5. Do this. That stops my king from coming up. Also stops some of my pawns from advancing. If ever I play h4, we just trade down. Yeah, I think this should be a pretty straightforward draw for him. Because even if I push this, now his king is coming up into the action so fast, I might actually just lose this, and I probably got to start playing over on the king side and make a draw. But he let my king get up a little bit and then check, and now this is getting into dangerous territory for him. Yeah, b5. I mean, he has seconds left here, and unfortunately blundered with bishop c8, but what else can he do? I think pushing the h-pawn makes a good deal of sense, so something like h5 or h6. Let's say h6, for instance. Just swap off a pair of pawns. But at this point, I can win his bishop, so I'm ready to play knight d6 followed by b7, so it's not a complete guarantee that he's going to make the draw anymore. Maybe king here. He wants to eliminate this. Yeah, so if I do this, you know, and something like this happens, he's ready to play king h4 and take the last pawn. This is probably still a draw too. But yeah, unfortunately he blundered. Bishop c8, knight e7. But good game by Tom. Again, he's giving up a lot of rating in playing these games, and I think he acquitted himself well. So I'll have to look this line up. I know there's been some theoretical developments in this variation with the quick knight h5 and swapping the dark square bishops. And I probably need to better familiarize myself with them, because my play in this middle game was not that inspiring. I think Tom was doing just fine here. So thanks to Tom for the 2 games. Again, he's 1900 USCF, if you want to use that to triangulate your own rating. It's always hard to look at online ratings and say how they translate, but it's nice to have a player, have an opponent who has an over-the-board established rating. Gives you a nice frame of reference. So thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye.